everyone, this is Fantasy-esque, and welcome back to Royal Clan in ClanGen, the Warrior Cats clan generator game. When we left off in the previous episode, we had a case of kitten cough. The youngest of King Canary Star's children, Bearkit, unfortunately got sick, and I don't know if he's going to make it or not. I am hoping that there's going to be a miracle. I have had a single case in the past, out of 3 prior cases, that have resulted in a kitten recovering from kitten cough, but the other 2 times they have died. So I am very nervous and I don't know how this is going to go. But along with that, we also have all 3 of our kittens aging up into apprentices. So we're gonna have that, mentors being decided. I am conflicted emotionally. I'm excited and also worried, but okay. Let us go straight to the leader's den, guys, and roll the dice to see how King Canary Star is going to handle the next gathering. Okay, so we got a 6 on the D10, so that's Ice Clan, and we got a 4 on the D8, which is Provoke. I can appreciate how consistent King Canary Star is when it comes to provoking the independent groups of cats in his forest. Okay, time for us to skip a moon and see what happens. We don't have any birth and death notices, thank goodness. With the additional focus of the clan, 5 pieces of prey and 2 herbs were gathered. During the gathering, King Canary Star goes on and on about a tiny incident on the border Royal Clan and Ice Clan share, really making a prophecy out of a paw print. Ice Clan's leader seems increasingly irritable. Ice Clan relations have worsened, so the king is pulling the same thing he did in the last episode. Shining Kit loudly complains as Buttercup Finn pulls him over to quickly groom his pelt. He manages to wriggle away and scurry off to the front of the crowd for his ceremony, where he is renamed to Shining Paw, an apprentice to Ferntail, the king's right hand. Okay, I feel like this kind of shows the amount of trust that maybe the king has in his right hand if he's going to apprentice his favorite son, his favorite child, to Ferntail. Let's see. Flare Kit loudly complains as Buttercup Finn pulls her over to quickly groom her pelt. She manages to wriggle away and scurry off to the front of the crowd for her ceremony, where she is renamed to Flare Paw, an apprentice to Scorchmoss. Okay, that's exciting. So Scorchmoss now has maybe something to distract her a little bit from the breeding that she's supposed to be doing, now that she has the king's middle child. Although Flarepaw is kind of like the forgotten middle child when it comes to her parents. But yeah, she's got a Flarepaw now to look after and train. So that's an interesting match. Flarepaw decides to pick something to adorn her pelt as celebration. Bearkit has recovered from kitten cough. Oh my goodness, guys. This means that so far, from what I've seen, there's a 50-50 chance your kit's gonna recover or your kit's not gonna make it. Bearkit, thank goodness, recovered. Now I've had 4 cases and 2 of them have resulted in recoveries and 2 of them have resulted in deaths. So that makes me feel a lot better about future instances of kitten cough we might get, that we have a bigger chance of survival. So Bearkit, maybe the cats had it right. Maybe they weren't worried for a reason because they kind of knew that they are maybe genetically superior and things that will kill off other kittens, maybe in Servant Clan, will have to work a lot harder to get rid of their youngsters. Bearpaw has reached the age of 6 moons and has been made an apprentice, and his father is going to keep his mentor a secret. Great. So let's go and decode that real quick. I'm very curious to see what personalities these youngsters have had growing up into adolescence, and also the personalities of their mentors and why they might have been paired up with them. So let's take a look. Oh, they look so cute. Oh my goodness. So Shining Paw we have is fierce, still interested in clan history, but fierce. So he's gone from being unruly to being fierce. And Ferntail, if I'm remembering correctly, is a loyal cat, so who is incredibly clever and good at climbing. I wonder if Canary Star wants, sees that his son has this fierce streak in him, and he wants Ferntail, who is loyal to the king, to help guide Shining Paw's fierceness in a way that is loyal to his father and to the clan. So I'm assuming that is why this particular pairing was made for like mentor and apprentice. Now Flarepaw, guys, I know Shining Paw was my favorite as a kitten, but I feel like Flarepaw might be my favorite as an apprentice. Just the way they look right now. In my opinion, it might change again once they become warriors, but just the way they look now, the fact that she has that flower like on her head is just so pretty. It's so pretty. She has raspberries on her head. Is that a new thing? That's a new thing. That is so cute though. She's lonesome. She's gone from being unruly to lonesome. Still an avid play fighter. And she was paired up with Scorchmoss, who is calm, with a keen eye. Okay, so maybe Canary Star saw that as an apprentice, his daughter, maybe because she knows she's not a favorite of her parents. She's kind of the invisible child. Even though she spends a lot of time with her mother, but I feel like she kind of falls into being an invisible child. Maybe Flarepaw has become a bit like withdrawn and reserved, and Canary Star maybe feels as though out of all the cats, Scorchmoss, who's very calm, might be able to make a connection with Flarepaw and get along with her a lot better than the others. So that's probably why they became a pair. And maybe because Flarepaw is lonesome, it's harder for other cats to discern what she's feeling, but because Scorchmoss has a keen eye, she'll be able to keep track of the changes in Flarepaw's mood and be more attuned to her emotionally. So I do like that as well. I think in general, I just really like the match of Scorchmoss and Flarepaw as well. And finally, we have Bearpaw, who is charismatic. Okay, he's gone from being fearless to charismatic, still like splashing in puddles, and his father, the king, has decided to mentor Bearpaw himself. Oh wow. You know what? I wonder if King Canary Star was maybe the only cat who was slightly worried about whether or not Bearpaw would make it through his kitten cough. And so he didn't pick out a mentor for Bearpaw because he wasn't sure if Bearpaw was going to make it. And now that Bearpaw has recovered, maybe King Canary Star felt as though he should keep a close eye on Bearpaw while his, like, in the aftermath, I should say, of his recovery. He should keep an eye on his son. And also maybe he's noticing that, you know, after recovering and stuff, Bearpaw has become better with words and expressing himself and charismatic. Maybe he gets sidetracked a little bit in like splashing in puddles, but you know, generally, he seems to be the wisest cat among his siblings, and maybe King Canary Star feels as though that is a kind of useful trait to have for his, like an apprentice of his. And I don't know if I'm misremembering, guys, but actually, wasn't Icicle Paw a charismatic young cat? And when Canary Star was mentoring Icicle Paw, like Icicle Speck now, didn't he have like a prompt in one of the moons where he wanted his next apprentice to be like Icicle Speck? So I wonder if that's also a thing. He kind of was seeing the same qualities in Bearpaw that he saw in Icicle Speck, and along with wanting to keep an eye on his, you know, son who went through kitten cough, maybe he feels like this, out of all his children, Bearpaw is going to be the ideal apprentice for him, to work with him in politics. Okay, that's fascinating. So obviously all of these youngsters are having warrior training, but Shining Paw and Flarepaw, actually no, the brothers, guys, are in politics. Once more, Flarepaw. Doesn't this show a little bit how she's the almost ignored child? Flarepaw is going through, if you think about it, warrior training with Scorchmoss, but her brothers are undergoing political training because Bearpaw, who is Buttercup Finn's favorite child, he is being trained by the king himself, and Shining Paw, who is King Canary Star's favorite child, is being trained by the king's right hand. So both the brothers, they're getting more of a political training, whereas their sister, her training is strictly on the warrior side of things. Very fascinating, very fascinating. But I think Flarepaw, like out of all the, not only just the apprentices, but the pairings between the mentors and the apprentices, I think my favorite would have to be Flarepaw and Scorchmoss. I think I'll keep an eye on these two to see what they get up to the most, because that kind of intrigues me. Huh, okay. But I'm really excited that Bearpaw survived. That makes me really, really happy. Okay, let's go to the medicine cat den. Bear Kit was given Tansy as treatment for kitten cough, and then recovered from kitten cough. Crowpelt gathered mallow this moon. With the additional focus of the clan, the following herbs were gathered, 1 plantain at one time. I feel like also his recovery, like Bearpaw's recovery, would definitely up the status of Crowpelt as a royal physician, or his reputation as a royal physician, because he managed to cure something so deadly. Okay, let's take a look at relationships now. King Canary Star doesn't judge Ferntail for being anxious about a bad dream. Okay, maybe Ferntail, the right hand, had a dream about something bad happening to Bearpaw, and King Canary Star, or Bear Kit at the time, which he kind of told to the king that he wasn't feeling too good about this kitten cough, but King Canary Star, he didn't judge Ferntail for being anxious. He kind of took that as a good thing, which kind of shows because, his favorite son was assigned as Ferntail's apprentice. But I wonder if Canary Star saw this, and to him it came across as, the right hand takes my family so seriously that he's actually concerned about my children. After Flarekit finished her food, Ferntail noticed she made a mess. Crowpelt is telling Watergale something interesting about another clan. Flarekit's words of comfort mean more to Crowpelt than she knows. I wonder if maybe Ferntail, he saw Flarekit being really messy and he thought to himself, like, this is not the kind of... I feel like also the cats in politics might be a bit more involved when it comes to mannerisms, and maybe he thought to himself, like, Flarekit, this is not the kind of apprentice I would want. But Flarekit comforting the royal physician, I wonder if Crowpelt was maybe feeling a bit overwhelmed with having the life of Bear Kit, like, in his paws. But then Flarekit came along, the sister, she came along, and she was encouraging Crowpelt and telling him not to worry too much and that her brother would be fine. Obviously, I think because she didn't understand the severity of his sickness, but the way she maybe spoke was very reassuring to Crowpelt, and he was able to go ahead and do what he needed to. Ferntail gives Scorchmoss something that she dropped. Bear Kit doesn't want to apologize to Scorchmoss for something. Icicle Speck and King Canary Star had a great time on a patrol, maybe reflecting on the fact that when Icicle Speck was training under Canary Star already made his mind up that he wanted to train another apprentice, and he wanted his next apprentice to be just like Icicle Speck. Flarekit gets a bug off of Flailstorm's pelt and takes it out of camp. Flailstorm admires how brave Bear Kit is. He probably went to check up on Bear Kit in the medicine cat den and saw how courageously he was facing his sickness, and he admired how brave that was. Probably because Flailstorm before this point wasn't taking the sickness that seriously, but then when he saw Bear Kit being so, grim about it, but still kind of trying his best despite that. Maybe that was the first time Flailstorm, it hit him that this thing we weren't worrying about was actually a serious thing to worry about. King Canary Star is able to work together with Shining Kit. Flailstorm says some father-son bonding over there. Flailstorm takes King Canary Star's side when Canary Star is in a debate. Watergale and Shining Kit find out they're both bringing flowers to the same clanmate's grave. Watergale goes for a nice long walk with Scorchmoss. Okay, so these two are spending time together, which is good. Okay, before this point though, I think both Shining Kit and Watergale maybe went to Goldusk, our very wise, brilliant warrior who we only saw for an episode or a moon before he died. But I wonder if Shining Kit went to Watergale in the Elder's Den to ask for more stories about past members because he's interested in clan history, and Watergale told him about Goldusk, and then both of them went to Goldusk's grave to give flowers together, which is very sweet. And then Watergale, after coming back, went for a nice long walk with Scorchmoss. Maybe he realized that, he's becoming a bit too irritated with her, she's becoming a bit too distant, maybe they need to go and speak about what's going on with both of them, otherwise this awkward stretch is going to go on for too long. Smokewater noticed that Flarekit wasn't in her nest last night. Smokewater has been a little kinder to Flailstorm today. When Buttercup Finn approached Ferntail, he made a weird face. Okay, that's interesting. that the king's consort and matchmaker is making a strange face, is seeing the right hand make a strange face when she approaches him. Buttercup Finn reassures Bear Kid about something that was bothering him. Oh, look at that! And so she went to visit her son, her favorite son, in the medicine cat den, and Bear Kid, I feel like the one person that Bear Kid would show his fears to would be his mother. And maybe after he confessed to her that he was terrified of dying because he realized that, yes, his sickness could result in death, I think Buttercup Finn maybe reassured his son and, said, don't worry about it. It's nothing like that is going to happen. You're going to be absolutely fine. You'll recover. You can fight this. The sickness, if anything, should be terrified of you. Which is really, really cute. And then they had, after this, their apprenticeship ceremonies. So Shining Paw works extra hard after seeing how skilled Watergale is. And I love this because Shining Paw is apprenticed, we know, to Ferntail, the king's right hand, and Watergale was one of the previous right hands. So maybe Shining Paw is seeing how skilled Watergale is and thinking that I need to make sure that I'm like a really good apprentice to the current right hand. So I love that. Flare Paw knows that the advice Icicle Spec gave her will be helpful. Bear Paw had a plan during a patrol, but Scorch Moss's was a lot better. Okay. So this is kind of interesting, but I wonder if already their mentors have begun arranging things, and King Canary Star sent his son on a patrol with his daughter's mentor, maybe to get some experience, to see how that goes. And Bear Paw didn't like that experience because Scorch Moss had a bad idea. I mean, Bear Paw, this is your first moon as an apprentice. I think you need to just calm down a little bit. Okay, so that's all we have for events. Let me cut the recording here and we'll continue with the cat list. Okay, let us resume with the cat list. I don't know why, I literally read in events that Flarepaw picked up something to adorn her pelt, and I completely overlooked it, but that's why she has the adorable raspberries on her head, which is so, so cute, and I think makes me love her even more. But yeah, for some reason my brain just zoomed past that. Okay, first up, we need to go through loyalties, where actually nothing has changed. So we still have our 4 anti-loyalists. Everyone else, they are very much loyal to King Canary Star, and also we can interpret that as them thinking that he is the ideal ruler for them to have at this point for Royal Clan. Now, I did look through relationships. The only change we had was actually between Watergale and Scorchmoss because they went on that walk, but we'll kind of see that when we jump into the matchmaking right now. So let's go ahead and get straight to it, and then we can kind of see what everyone's doing for the day. So, Scorchmoss and Watergale. So, we have been kind of seeing for the past 2 moons some sass from Scorchmoss, and then last moon Watergale got really irritated at her. But then, in this moon, he was the one, I think, who proposed they go on a walk together to talk things out, otherwise this awkwardness would kind of stretch too long. And in that talk, I suppose they were able to discuss why Scorchmoss was acting this way when Watergale wasn't expecting it, and she basically calmly told him that it's not because of Watergale or because of how she feels towards this match, it's because of King Canary Star, and it was a bit childish for her to take it out on Watergale, but that's kind of what was going on. And I think the fact that she was so honest made Watergale like her a little bit more. So I don't know if her romance increased, maybe a little bit, or maybe not, I'm not sure, but Watergale definitely, as a result of that, has started liking her even more than he did beforehand. But in the process, Scorchmoss, she actually started viewing Watergale as a friend, so she now considers him a friend of hers, and I think that's probably because of the way he proposed they go for a walk, he proposed they talk seriously, and she found that she was actually able to converse really calmly with him about her feelings instead of avoiding it the way she was doing. So I think the maturity with which Watergale handled this whole situation made her feel very comfortable in his presence. So there we go. Now she considers him a friend, and hopefully that's going to make things a lot smoother. And yeah, I think Watergill once more saw the kind of qualities that make him sure that Scorchmoss is the one he wants to have kittens with. So wonderful! Let's go ahead, and hopefully with that groundwork laid down, Buttercup Finn is going to have a better time matchmaking them. So let's see. Okay, look at that. So romantic interest, comfort, trust, respect, platonic like increased, and jealousy has decreased, which is wonderful. So the matchmaking session was a success. After that talk, Scorchmoss felt way more comfortable being romantic with Watergill, and Watergill, you know, he was definitely wanting to romance her more. So I feel happy for these two. This is good progress. This is very good progress. And I think also that conversation they had made Scorchmoss reflect on, like, it kind of showed her a way of how she could also try and access her apprentice, Flarepaw, who is also lonesome like Watergill. So it's like her relationship with Watergill is teaching her how to communicate with a lonesome apprentice in a way that she might not have picked up on beforehand. So I love this. This is wonderful. Okay, now let's go ahead and see what everyone is doing for the day. King Canary Star is wishing Flarekit would play more quietly. I think you're dreaming, Canary Star, about your daughter being noisy because she is no longer a kitten. She's an apprentice. Ferntail is watching the sky for rain. Crowpelt is soaking in the new leaf warmth. Buttercup Finn is hanging out with Crowpelt, so the royal physician and the matchmaker hang out together, soaking in the new leaf warmth. Scorchmoss tries to set a good example for the younger cats. Flailstorm is hanging out with her, also trying to set a good example for the younger cats. Icicle Speck is upset that Buttercup Finn, the matchmaker and King's consort, said he was wrong during an argument. Okay, I can see that. Because Icicle Speck, when he was an apprentice, was very attentive to Buttercup Finn, and maybe, you know, he feels a streak of loyalty to her as well, along with the king, and he thought that she would always take his side, but then she didn't, and now he's kind of upset at her. Shining Paw wants to go hunt. Yeah, he's very excited to go out on his first patrol, and all of his fierceness, he wants to channel that into hunting. Flarepaw is looking forward to finding more prey as the snow melts. Bearpaw is looking forward to finding more prey as the snow melts. So Bearpaw and Flarepaw, the two youngsters, are hanging out together, thinking about, you know, finding more prey when they go out on patrol. And their brother, their older brother, is just being excitable about hunting. He's not even thinking about the practicality of getting more prey in the seasons. He just wants to go hunt. Watergale is feeling rather chipper today. Smokewater is also soaking in the new leaf warmth with... Who are you hanging out with? With Crowpelt and Buttercup Finn. Okay. Really? So we have Crowpelt, Buttercup Finn, and Smokewater hanging out together, soaking in the new leaf warmth. I imagine... Well, actually, instead of imagining... Yeah. Well, Medicine Cat Den, Clearing... They're all over the place. Elder's Den, they're all over the place. We'll say they're in the Medicine Cat Den, hanging out with Crowpelt. Okay. That's all we have for the cat list, so let me cut the recording here and we'll continue with patrols. Okay, I am very excited right now because we are finally going to have a bigger patrol than just the one patrol of 5, which is, or is it 4 that we normally have? I think it's 5 we normally have. But we're going to have, like, aside from the medicine or the royal physician patrol, we're going to have 2 patrols, which is exciting. But we currently have 94.5 prey, we need 26.5. We're going to send out our royal physician first of all to make his rounds in the forest outside the grotto. While searching for some specific herbs, Crowpelt is startled by weird sounds and whispers on the wind. Proceed. Crowpelt follows the strange sounds on the wind and finds a struggling queen with their newborn kids clinging to them. Crowpelt tries to make the queen eat some strengthening herbs and slowly helps them back to camp. Thankful for the help, the queen joins Royal Clan with their kits. Bleak Swan joined the clan, Crocus Kit joined the clan, Bramble Kit joined the clan. Your clan's reputation towards outsiders has improved. And what does this mean? This means that 2 moons in a row, our royal physician has found more cats to serve in Servant Clan. Okay, Let's go back and take a look at these cats. So this is Bleak Swan. What does she look like? Ooh, she's a pretty cat. Very pretty cat. With adult female with heather blue eyes, a 2-color pelt, charismatic, prophecy interpreter, and great climber. Okay, we're going to give her some medical attention, and then we are going to send her off to Servant Clan. And then we have her kittens, Croker's Kit, a fearless male with cyan eyes and 2-color coat. He is going to go with his mother, and then Bramble Kit, another male, bullying male, with heather blue eyes and a 2-color coat. He is going to go to Servant Clan with his brother and mother as well, so there we go. More servants for our royals. Look at that! Oh, Faith Kit and Flurry Kit have aged up, which is interesting. I think they were newborns last time. So, fascinating, fascinating. Okay. Let's go back to our patrols. So we are going to have a patrol of 6 and a patrol of 2, and I'm very curious to see what teaching methods the different mentors are going to have. And in case you guys don't already know, I basically randomize all my patrols, even the ones with apprentices in them. And where they end up, I just say that's kind of the teaching methods of their mentors. Sometimes mentors might want to take their apprentices with them, sometimes mentors might want their apprentices to learn from other cats. So whatever it is, it's the arrangement the mentors have made. So let's go ahead and see who our first patrol of 6 is going to be. Okay, so it seems as though all the mentors have decided that they're going to accompany their apprentices, this is really cool, on their first ever patrols, which makes sense. We have seen incidents in the past where dangerous things can happen the first time around, and it's usually good if the apprentices stick with their mentors. So Ferntail staying very close to Shining Paw, Scorchmoth staying very close to Flarepaw, and King Canary Star is staying very close to Bearpaw. Wonderful, I actually love this. They kind of worked out perfectly. So let's send them out and see what they get up to. King Canary Star is the leader of the training group today and considers himself a good choice for the role. He's skilled at explaining things, which is especially beneficial for apprentices, if he can get them to listen, that is. Proceed. Commanding attention, King Canary Star takes the patrol through the familiar steps of the warrior code as they walk the territory. Have they considered what that rule truly means? Would they follow it to their own death, to their friends, to a kits? Have they deeply reflected on their dedication to the code? Okay, so I think this was a really good session to kind of lay the groundwork before the apprentices get into serious things like hunting. But I feel like the kittens might have been a little bit disappointed that their father decided they needed a lecture on their first day out instead of actually hunting, because I know all of them wanted to go out on a hunt. But thankfully, it seems as though they listened, which is good. And then we have Icicle Speck and Flailstorm going out on a second patrol, so let's see what they get up to. Eyes glowing in the last rays of the sunset, the small hunting party heads out into the gathering dusk. Proceed. Flailstorm tries to show off, but it screws up the coordination of the entire patrol. Wonderful. Great job, Flailstorm. Okay, I don't think Icicle Speck would have been too impressed with Flailstorm, who was also the patrol leader, screwing up a hunt because he was showing off. Ay. Not good at all. Not good at all. But, all in all, ooh, this is so pretty. New Leaf looks so pretty! Actually, all the seasons in the grotto look very pretty, but it's such a jarring change from how Leaf Bear looked. But I love it! It's honestly, compared to some of the other maps I've played, I think the grotto is the one map where I can distinctly tell, like, at least when I'm playing in light mode, because I have to admit that the other maps I've been playing, I've only played in dark mode, and I think in light mode the daylight differences across the seasons is a lot more. But I can tell seasons have changed in the grotto compared to other maps. Other times, like, the seasons change and I don't even realize until there's a prompt in patrols. But yeah, I can see it over here. It's so pretty, everything's so green and mossy. But okay, that was, like I was saying, a successful day out for our cats. But okay guys, with that said and done, I am gonna leave off here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye.